Mgtow? Because of the recognition of these abusive techniques by women. Why aren't more men Mgtow than there are now? Because men are trapped. They are emotional prisoners of women. And they are emotional prisoners of the system, the legal social system. I recommend that you look into emotional abuse of men. If you're in a relationship or if you're married, understanding why you feel the way you do. Right? Thinking that you're a man and you can take it, it's not a big deal. That's what we tell ourselves. It helps us feel better, right? We think, and a lot of men say this, we think we're the Lone Ranger. That we're the only guy being abused. Right? And because of that, you think you've done something wrong. You must deserve this treatment because you're the only one getting it. When in fact it is very, very common. To believe that women don't know what the legal system is lining up and waiting for them to do, which is file divorce and punish and destroy the man. Women know that's out there. Men know that's out there. The system itself is set up to emotionally abuse men. And women are just the direct facilitators of it. Right? Mgtow is not about a deep-seated hatred for women. It's about recognizing what relationships with women these days lead to. What they are about. Men going their own way is not some brotherhood of bachelors. It's about seeing what women do because they are empowered by the state. Right? If I were to read these things to you and say a man was doing it, right? If a man, right, falsely accused a woman of assaulting her and threatening her, and the police came, right, and arrested her, you would say he's the biggest piece of shit on the planet, right? If a husband threatened to take away the custody of his children to the woman, people would lose their minds. Women would say, how dare you do that to a woman? She's their mother, right? If a man turned to a woman and was abusing her and then blamed her and said it's all her fault, right? You'd be told that you're a lying, manipulating asshole, right? If a man falsely obtained a restraining order, what would everyone say about him? What would everyone think about him? Right? If a woman wanted affection and a man withheld it from her, right, you'd say, what a jerk. That's all she wants is some affection. Yeah. Yet women do these things, and it's considered part of the game. The way they have to behave, how they get even, right? How they get ahead. And it's all abuse. So when you look at a man doing these things, you say, what a jerk, what an asshole. He's abusing that woman, she should get out. But when a woman sees a woman doing that to a man, she says, you go, girl. And yeah, that's how you do it. You keep him in line. You control him. Take his friends away from him. Right? Control those finances. Scream and yell, threaten. Do everything you can to keep him in line. That's the game we're playing. And it's not just a game of control. It's a game of abuse. Right? Marriage is no longer a relationship that's consensual. When you get into a marriage, it becomes an obligation that you have to continue to play into, or you're going to be penalized. As a man, you don't have a choice. You're talked into it and forced into it and manipulated or abused into it by society and its rules. And then when you're locked into that relationship, the real abuse, personal, heart-wrenching abuse occurs. And the only way out of that for a man, the only way out of it is through divorce. And it is through the door of divorce that you're introduced to all new forms of abuse by the state, by law enforcement who listens to the woman, an abuse by her who can take you back to divorce court again and again, even after divorce is finalized. Once again, I have gotten heart-wrenching stories from men who say thank you to Mgtow and to this channel for talking about these subjects, that they felt worthless, that they thought there was no hope, that they felt like they were the only ones dealing with this crap. Mgtow isn't about just denying women and punishing women. It's about men protecting themselves. About men realizing that you can enjoy your life, that your happiness isn't derived through the satisfaction of a woman's desires. Your life is not about making someone else happy. It's about making yourself happy. And we've talked about abuse in this video. And when you get into a relationship with a woman, they become extremely abusive. Now, people say, John, some relationships are bad, but not really. It's not that many. It's not that big of a deal. You Mgtow guys, you're a small fraction. If that's the case, why do 75% of marriages wind up in divorce? And even drop the number lower if you want, 50-50. Right? Half of those women, right, that are married get a divorce. What does that tell you? They're done abusing their husband and they're moving on. And of those that remain married, I say those are not happy marriages and those are not happy men. Those are men who are content to be abused. And those are women in those relationships that are content abusing that one man. And I'm sure there are some happy marriages out there, but I think it's a far, far smaller percentage than they let on. And that men either end up getting abused and divorced, or they end up staying married and abused their whole lives. Emotional abuse of men is not a joke. You know, and all we can do is try and reach out and help men and let them know, you know, these are the threats you face. You know, all of these videos talking about all the problems with women. It's not to bag on women. It can be amusing, it can be fun, but there is a very serious side to it. Right? Serious side to it. And it's what we face. It's what we've dealt with. Right? When a woman gets married to a man and walks away with hundreds of thousands of dollars, that is not, it is not a joke. Right? When a woman walks away from a marriage and leaves a man, right, living in a tiny apartment with no money to take care of himself, that is nothing short of abuse sanctioned by the state. Right? It is abuse that is encouraged by society. It is abuse that is authorized by the court system. Right? And it needs to stop. And it won't stop if men keep volunteering to get married. See, we volunteer for it because we buy the horseshit. We buy the lies. We accept the propaganda. And then we think that we're going to be an exception to what is now the rule. And that is that women run relationships. And they run men right into the ground. Mgtow, men going their own way, is an option for men. It's an option that doesn't have those threats. When you spend your day as a man not getting screamed and yelled at, not being threatened, not being insulted and demeaned, not being told you're not worth the trouble, when you spend your day not being lied to, not being socially isolated from your friends and family, right? Not being treated like a child or a servant, and in control of your own finances and life decisions. As Mgtow, when you have all that back to yourself, you do have the option, the opportunity for happiness. You know, there's just so much to this. There's so much psychology to it. And men don't see it coming. Right? It's just a fairy tale. Right? You're told that you're supposed to try for the fairy tale, that it's yours to have. All you have to do is try a little harder and give a little more. And it can be yours. And that's the lie. Right? Everything else is just technique that women use on us. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and I want to say to all the men out there who have been hurt, right? Just because you're a man doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. Just because you're a man doesn't mean abuse doesn't take its toll on your health, your sense of self-value, self-esteem, self-worth. It takes a tremendous toll on you. And to know that other men understand and other men give a shit, right? And that we've been there, that's critical. It's critical to support other men who have been through all of this horse shit. Mgtow is not just about bagging on women. It's about supporting other men and supporting the shit we've been through. You know, so for everyone who sent me those stories, from coast to coast, down south, I know John's everywhere. They've been through a mile of shit, crawling through it on their hands and knees, and they've come out the other side, and they've shaken it off and started their lives again. You know, understand what abuse is, and you'll understand why Mgtow is important. All right, guys, Semper Fi. I want to thank all of you for supporting the channel, supporting my vices, PayPal and Patreon. I want to thank all of you for supporting it by giving it a thumbs up, all my videos, as well as the videos of all Mgtow producers. Everyone has a different way of explaining what's going on. You know, I just happen to have my particular way. And your comments down below. You know, some men vent in there. Other men tell their stories. Other guys just say thank you. And probably most people just read them and try and get a sense of what's going on in the minds of men. And in the minds of Mgtow men in particular. You know, so you guys be cool, right? I have the penis. You have the penis. Remember, you're the prize. Right? You have value. You matter. You do it, right? You control your life, and you can make it into something beautiful and worth living. Semper Fi, guys.